We are here with Jason Michael Carroll for the 103 WKDF Birthday Bash. First of all, thank you so much for being a part of this tonight. We couldn't thank you enough.
This isn't our first birthday bash.
I know.
So, I mean, here we are again. I think 10 years old. That's
I
awesome.
know.
Yeah.
We're getting old. Do we look it?
No, not a bit. not a day over 8.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, speaking of getting old, you have a new album coming out, Growing Up is Getting Old.
Yeah.
Explain that title.
All right, we go a lot of places. We have a lot of fun. We have some really cool crowds.
Yes.
The band and I would love to party every night that we are out there on the road. And then we have to realize, okay, we've got to be up early the next morning, or we've got to be in another town tomorrow night.
Right.
And then that responsibility kicks in, and we're like,
Right.
dang it, growing up is getting old.
Well, and speaking of responsibility, something that we have to admire about you, I mean, you never know it by looking at your baby face, but you've got 4 babies of your own.
I do.
And that is a priority in your life. And can you just talk about trying to juggle this rock star career, or country star career, if you will, and being a dad and being there?
Yeah, the hardest part about being on the road is being away from the babies. You
Right.
know? But as much as I love Nashville and as good as Nashville's been to me, I have an apartment here, but I have a house in North Carolina because after we get done with the road and we all bust back into town,
Right.
my guys are home taking their shoes off, and I've got one more leg of a trip to go to fly back home to Raleigh. So.
And I mean, do they understand that? Because obviously you're Jason Michael Carroll, the country star to a lot of people. But do they understand what you're doing? Or are you just dad?
I'm just
come
dad.
home?
I'm just dad. Yeah. And this year I got it a couple times. Daddy, I wish you'd just come home and stay here. So, hopefully
Yeah.
one day they'll understand why I'm doing it. And,
Well, if I can, I'd love to talk about your parents for a minute. And for people who aren't really familiar with you, my favorite story about you, your dad, a preacher,
Right.
you were not allowed to listen to music growing up. And you got a spanking for a pretty funny reason when you were younger. It sure wasn't funny at the time, but can you talk about that?
Yeah, I know. 15 years old, my dad found a copy of Achy Breaky Heart under my mattress. A friend of mine made a tape off the radio, and I got one of the worst spankings I can remember over Achy Breaky Heart.
Oh my gosh. Were you embarrassed to tell that story at first?
Not anymore. Not really, because I'm a huge Billy Ray Cyrus fan to this
Okay.
day. I'm kind of hard-headed, so maybe that's why I wound up being a country singer anyway.
Well, and let's just talk about this song that you have out. I have to admit, the first time I heard it, I liked it, thought it was a great song, but then the more I listen to it and you really digest the lyrics, Where I'm From, what a great song.
You know what? The coolest thing, the message in this song, there's all kinds of things to be taken away from it, but to me, the biggest thing is that it shows 2 people that life has carried them in 2 totally different directions, and which is how it does all of us.
Yeah.
But if you boil it all down, we're all pretty much the same, and that's one of the things I love about this song.
Well, we cannot thank you enough for being here, and we're so glad that you've got some new music coming out,
Yeah.
and thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday.